So this is Shiloh wearing the Browns jersey. I think it's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be great to see the brothers playing together again. Now we have to shift our focus to another story, and that is the Browns quarterback situation, because we know they like to throw names in a hat and pull a name out the hat. And this is another day, another episode of what the hell the Browns are going to do next.
Browns. I actually did see this, Mr. Can't Stop, Won't Stop. That is a good question to bring up. I think we might even have this quote. Because I think I was going to talk about this when it happened. It was like around Thanksgiving time, and Shiloh was, here it is. He said, Lord, they were literally in the middle of a prayer here. And he said, Lord, please allow Shedeur to do his best so he could pull some strings and get me on the Browns too. And please make number 21 available somehow.
So, this is Shiloh wearing a Browns jersey. You can't take that guy out. So, don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. Let me say this right now. What we just heard in that opening, that's not normal hype. That's not your usual talking head debate. That's something else. That's energy. That's momentum. That's the kind of conversation that only starts when a player is forcing the entire league to pay attention. Because this whole thing with Shedeur Sanders, it didn't start like this. It started as questions. It started as doubt. It started as, is he really that guy? And now we're sitting here having real conversations about him being the future of the Cleveland Browns. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you can feel it shifting. You can feel it. This isn't just about a quarterback anymore. This isn't just about stats or one good performance or a couple flashes late in the season. No, this is bigger than that. This is about something forming, something building, something that feels different. And then you add the other layer to it, Shedeur Sanders. Now everything changes. Because suddenly this isn't just football talk. It's everywhere. You see the jersey sightings. You see the clips going viral. You see fans talking about it like it's already happening. And maybe a few months ago, you laughed that off. Maybe you call it fan fiction. Maybe you say it's just social media noise. But not anymore. Not when the energy keeps growing. Not when the conversations keep getting louder. Not when the pieces start lining up just a little too perfectly. And that's the part people are missing. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is what it looks like when something is starting to take shape right in front of you, and most people don't even realize it yet. Because think about it. When was the last time the Browns felt like this? Not just relevant, but interesting. Not just competitive, but must-watch. I'm talking about real excitement. The kind where fans aren't just hoping for wins, they're watching because they feel like they're witnessing the start of something. Something is building. Something is shifting. Something is happening in Cleveland. And you can try to downplay it. You can say, let's wait and see. You can say, it's too early. But we've seen this before in this league. We've seen moments where the energy changes before the results do. And the people who catch it early, they're the ones who understand what's coming. Because if this actually comes together, if Shedeur Sanders takes that next step, if Shiloh Sanders really ends up in that locker room, this isn't just a storyline. This is a takeover. This is the kind of moment that flips a franchise's identity overnight. The kind of moment that turns a team people ignored into the team everyone has to watch. And right now, it feels like we're standing right at the edge of it. The only question is, are we about to witness the beginning of something special, or are we watching the league sleep on it one last time? Let's be real for a second. The biggest thing holding this entire situation back right now isn't talent, it's confusion. Manufactured confusion. Let's hazing life. Because when you actually look at the Cleveland Browns quarterback room, when you strip away the headlines, the debates, the loud opinions, it's not as complicated as people are trying to make it seem. But the media? They keep pushing this idea that it's wide open, that nobody knows who the guy is, that it's this chaotic, unpredictable battle. And I'm sitting here like, are we watching the same thing? Because from what I've seen, from the flashes, from the trajectory, from the way things are trending, Shedeur Sanders is not just in the mix. He's ahead. And I don't mean hype ahead. I mean earned it. See, Everybody wants to bring up Deshaun Watson, and look, respect where it's due. That's a veteran. That's a guy who's done it before. He's got the resume, the experience, the name recognition. But let me ask you this. Does he fit what this team is becoming right now? Because this isn't the same Browns team from 2 years ago. This is a new system, new energy, new direction. When you bring in a fresh offense, when everything resets, when nobody has an advantage walking in that building, that's when things change. That's when hunger matters. That's when adaptability matters. That's when the guy who's climbing starts to pass the guy who's already been there. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Shedeur. This isn't a story of a guy being handed anything. He wasn't crowned from day one. He wasn't protected. He had to fight his way up that depth chart. He had to prove himself in real moments, under real pressure, with real expectations. And when he got his shot, he didn't just survive. He flashed. Big throws, tight windows, command of the offense. You could see it not just in the highlights, but in the confidence, in the way the game slowed down for him. And that's the part that keeps bothering me. Why are people still doubting him? Why is the media still acting like this is some 50-50 battle when the momentum is clearly leaning one way? Because we've seen this pattern before. We saw it with guys like Jalen Hurts, doubted, questioned, constantly compared, until one day it wasn't a debate anymore. It was obvious. And I'm telling you right now, we're getting close to that point here. Because Shedeur isn't just developing, he's accelerating. He's already showing flashes. He's already proving it. He's already ahead. And maybe they won't say it out loud yet. Maybe the coaches keep it quiet. Maybe the organization plays it safe publicly. But inside that building, they know. They see who's trending up. They see who's commanding the room. They see who's taking control of this opportunity and not letting go. And if you're paying attention, really paying attention, you see it too. This isn't a wide open competition anymore. This is a quiet takeover. And the craziest part, most people won't realize it until it's already done. I'm gonna say something that a lot of people don't want to admit. This whole situation, it's not just about football anymore, it's about respect. Because if you've been paying attention to Shedeur Sanders from the beginning, then you already know this story. You've seen it play out before. The same doubts, the same questions, the same energy every single time he steps into a bigger spotlight. He's not ready. He needs more development. The Browns should draft another quarterback. It's like a script at this point. And what gets me is none of this is new. This didn't start in the NFL. This didn't start with the Browns. This goes all the way back to college. Every level he stepped into, there's always been that hesitation, that pause, that feeling like people are waiting for him to fail instead of expecting him to rise. And let's be real, part of that comes with the name. Being the son of Deion Sanders isn't just a blessing, it's pressure. It's expectations stacked on top of expectations. People don't just want you to be good, they want you to be perfect. And if you're not perfect immediately, they question everything. They question your talent. They question your ceiling. They question whether you even belong. And that's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Because while everyone else is debating stats and depth charts, Shedeur is dealing with something bigger. He's carrying a legacy while trying to build his own. He's fighting narratives that were written before he even stepped on the field. And yet, every single time, he answers. That's what makes this so frustrating to watch. Because how many times does he have to prove it? How many flashes are enough? How many drives? How many moments where he steps up when it matters? At what point do we stop asking questions and start acknowledging what we're actually seeing? Because I've seen quarterbacks get crowned with less. I've seen guys get handed opportunities off potential alone. But when it comes to Shedeur, it's like the bar just keeps moving. Every time he reaches it, they raise it. And that creates tension, real tension. Because now it's not just about winning the job. It's about forcing people to change their minds. It's about breaking through a wall of doubt that's been built around him for years. And that's a different kind of battle. That's mental. That's emotional. That's personal. But here's the thing. That kind of pressure, it either breaks you or it builds you into something dangerous. And from everything we've seen so far, it's building him. Because the more they doubt him, the sharper he looks. The more they question him, the more composed he plays. The more they hesitate, the more he accelerates. And that's why this moment feels different. Because this isn't just another chapter of people doubting him. This feels like the moment right before everything flips. He's been doubted his whole life. And every single time, he answers. So now the question isn't if he'll respond again. It's how loud that response is about to be. Let me tell you right now, if this actually happens, we're not just talking about football anymore. We're talking about something the league doesn't see very often. Because this is different. This is bigger than a depth chart, bigger than a roster move, bigger than just adding another player to the locker room. What we're looking at right now with Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders potentially sharing the same field, that's a story. A real one. Two brothers, same team, same mission, same spotlight. And you can't fake that kind of chemistry. You can't coach it. You can't manufacture it. That bond, that connection, that's something that shows up in the moments that matter. The energy on the sideline, the communication, the accountability, the way one pushes the other when things get tough. That's the kind of stuff that changes locker rooms. Because when you've got two guys like that, locked in together, coming from the same mindset, the same upbringing, the same competitive fire, it spreads. It raises the standard. It makes everybody else feel it. And let's be real, the Cleveland Browns haven't had that kind of energy in a long time. Not like this. This isn't just about talent. This is about presence. This is about identity. This is about giving a team something to rally around. And then you factor in the bigger picture, the influence. Because whether he's on the sideline or not, you know Deion Sanders is always part of the equation. His mindset, his leadership, his standard that follows his sons everywhere they go, that's culture. That's expectation. That's a level of confidence that doesn't just impact two players, it shifts an entire organization. And think about what that does outside the field. The media attention, the fan engagement, the spotlight. Every game becomes must-watch. Every moment becomes amplified. Every win feels bigger. Every storyline hits harder. Every game becomes must-watch. Every game becomes must-watch. Because now you've got something the entire league is watching unfold in real time. And that's rare. You don't get many chances to build something like this organically. You don't get many moments where everything lines up: talent, story, timing, energy all at once. And that's why this feels so important. Because if this comes together, if Shedeur Sanders continues to rise, if Shiloh Sanders joins him in that locker room, you're not just adding a piece. You're igniting something. Something emotional. Something cultural. Something that goes beyond wins and losses. And that's the part people aren't ready for yet. Because this isn't just a roster move. This is a story. The kind of story that pulls people in. The kind of story that builds belief. The kind of story that can take a franchise that's been overlooked for years and turn it into the center of the league's attention overnight. And if that spark catches, this could be the moment we look back on and say, that's when everything changed in Cleveland. I'm gonna say it straight. This right here, this feels like one of those moments. You know the ones. The moments you don't fully understand while they're happening. But later, you look back and say that's when everything changed. Because if this plays out the way it's starting to feel, the Cleveland Browns are not just becoming relevant. They're becoming must-watch. Not maybe, not potentially. I'm talking about every single Sunday, eyes locked in, because you don't want to miss what's about to happen next. And at the center of it all, Shedeur Sanders. This is the moment where a quarterback stops being a question and becomes the answer. Because we've seen this transition before. We've seen young guys take that leap when the flashes turn into consistency, when the confidence turns into control, when the what if turns into, this is him. And I'm telling you right now, Shedeur is right there, right on the edge of that jump. And if he makes it, you're not just looking at a starter. You're looking at a franchise quarterback. Now add the other piece, Shiloh Sanders. Because if both of them are in that building, if that brotherhood really becomes part of this team's identity, we're talking about something iconic. Not just a good story. Not just a feel-good moment. I'm talking about a duo that people remember. A duo that defines an era for a franchise that's been searching for identity for years. Two brothers, same field, same city, same spotlight. That doesn't happen often. And when it does, it changes everything. This is bigger than a signing. This is bigger than a season. This is a legacy moment. And now the pressure shifts. Not on the players, on the organization. Because the question isn't, can it work? The question is, are the Browns bold enough? Are they ready to lean into this? Are they ready to stop playing it safe and actually embrace what's right in front of them? Because everything is lining up. The momentum, the energy, the belief. It's all there. And moments like this, they don't wait forever. You either recognize it or you miss it. You either build around it or you watch it become something somewhere else. And that's why this feels so important right now. Because we're not talking about a random possibility anymore. We're talking about a window. A real opportunity to flip the narrative of an entire franchise. And if they step into it, if they trust what's building, if Shedeur Sanders takes that next step, and Shiloh Sanders becomes part of this story, remember this moment. Remember how it felt right now. Because if this happens, you saw it before everyone else. You felt it before the headlines caught up. You recognized it before the rest of the league had no choice but to pay attention. Because this isn't hype anymore. This is destiny building in real time.